on a trade deadline Thursday. We've just hit the deadline. Nothing is official yet, so things could still trickle through. But according to Zach Meisel of The Athletic, my partner for the Ultimate Cleveland Guardians show, the Cleveland Guardians are not trading Stephen Kwan. There will be no last-second trickle in. Stephen Kwan is not getting traded. So I love the idea of trading him today. I was okay with it, I guess, if they got blown away with an offer. I didn't expect that to happen, and now it has not. Again, according to Zach Meisel of The Athletic, Stephen Kwan is staying with the Cleveland Guardians. He will not be traded, and we're just getting that breaking news. You can say, well, of course we know that at 6:03, but there are trades that you haven't heard of yet that are still going to trickle in. In fact, we've just seen them. Charlie Morton just got traded from the Orioles to the Tigers. The Giants just traded Camilo Doval, a good relief pitcher, to the Yankees. The Cubs just got Taylor Rogers, got traded for the second time in 2 days from the Pirates to the Cubs. The Rays, who have been selling players all day, just traded for Griffin Jacks, good relief pitcher from the Twins. Louis Varland, another relief pitcher, got traded from the Twins to the Blue Jays. So all that's just happened in the last 5 minutes. So things could still happen. I guess it's possible the Guardians could still make a minor deal. But Stephen Kwan is not getting traded. Again, that from Zach Meisel of The Athletic. I know a lot of fans are happy. And remember, listen, I obviously I've been very down on this team this season, especially the last couple of months. I went nuts after the suspensions, and listen, I said for the first time in my 14 years covering this team, it's time for a change at the top. Obviously, we would love to see a change in ownership, but I think it's time for a new front office. I would totally blow it up and start over. I know that sounds crazy. When I say blow it up, I don't mean trade Stephen Kwan. I would sign him to an extension. There's no reason the Guardians can't sign Stephen Kwan to an extension. They absolutely should. They haven't to this point. I don't think they will extend Stephen Kwan. Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope certainly that I am. But I doubt it. Another late trade. Ty France traded to the Blue Jays. So there you go. Another trade happening in the last minute. Ty France to the Blue Jays. But I don't expect Stephen Kwan to sign an extension. I'd love it to be the case, but I don't expect it to happen. But the Guardians don't trade him, and that's good news, and maybe there's a possibility that they could get something done with him in the offseason, and if they can't, then there's a good chance they'll trade him in this offseason. But, like I said, as bad as things have gone, and as much as I don't think the Guardians are going to make the playoffs, they are not far out of the wild card. And I'm not saying they should have not traded for that reason, because they traded Shane Bieber, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But they're only 2.5 games back, 2 in the loss column behind Texas and Seattle for that final wild card spot. Now, the Rangers and the Mariners have both gotten better in this trade deadline season. I expect both to stay ahead of the Guardians for the rest of the season, but you never know here. I mean, the Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners, and Rangers, the 4 teams for the 3 spots ahead of the Guardians for the wild card, have been aggressive at the deadline. The Rays had a weird day. They're a half game back of the Guardians. Royals have mostly added, but nothing. Well, they did make a nice trade for Bailey Falter from the Pirates here in the last hour. I like that move. So they improved their rotation and made a couple of additions to their lineup with Grichuk and Frazier. Not huge, but made additions. The Angels bought, obviously the Twins, with an all-time sell-off. The only thing missing was trading Joe Ryan. I mean, they must have traded like 8 players in the last few days. I can't remember. Off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly how many, but they traded a crazy amount of players. You see there, one of them was Carlos Correa. I mean, let me just bring up the Twins depth chart from before today, and I'll tell you, right now in this division, it's the interesting thing is the White Sox are still terrible, and they're not getting much better. The Twins are they're in the start of a massive rebuild. They've traded a ton of guys. They've traded Willie Castro. They traded Louis Varland. They traded Harrison Bader. They traded Griffin Jacks, Brock Stewart, Carlos Correa. They traded their closer, Duran, yesterday. I can't even remember if I'm forgetting anybody. I think there's others they traded that I'm just not thinking of here. They traded Ty France just now. Their starting lineup is a bunch of rookies, and mostly rookies and second-year players. They just made a ton. I mean, they blew it up. You have two teams that are now a total disaster in the American League Central. The one trade that the Guardians have made, by the way, in that interesting trade with the Rays and the Twins, the Rays got Griffin Jacks, I mentioned. Taj Bradley, a longtime top prospect, goes to the Twins in that deal. So they did get a nice move there. I think it's actually a good move by the Twins as part of their rebuild to get Taj Bradley. So I kind of like that. John Heyman confirms what Zach Meisel already said, that Stephen Kwan is staying in Cleveland. So that's been confirmed now by multiple sources. Zach Meisel first, confirmed by John Heyman, and as we now get to 6:08, you still might see some things trickle in here in the next, really as late as 6:30. Some interesting players not traded. Stephen Kwan, of course, Lewis Robert, Andrew Haney, Dennis Santana, Zach Gallen, Edward Cabrera, Sandy Alcantara, Mackenzie Gore, Joe Ryan. Those are two guys I was hoping the Cubs would get. I was a very disappointing trade deadline for the Cubs. Not that any of you care. So let's get to the Guardians. I love that they didn't trade Kwan. As unhappy as I am with the state of the franchise, I'm a big Stephen Kwan fan. I really hope that the Guardians can be introspective and think about being smart and locking up Stephen Kwan to a reasonable deal. I was saying, I think I said earlier today on UCSS that I would offer Kwan a 7-year, like $125 million deal, like $17-18 million a year. I think it makes sense for both sides. Stephen Kwan's not getting huge money because he's not a power hitter, but he's so good at everything else. Hits for average, great base runner, good base stealer, good arm, great defense. He just does everything well. He's below average as a power hitter, and every other part of his game is good to excellent. And I think that's a player. Like, you have Jose, you have Bieber locked up, get Kwan locked up. And let's figure out the rest. And maybe I'm wrong, I'm going to be wrong because they're not going to fire this front office. And obviously, I don't think they're idiots in this front office. They've done a lot of good things over the years. They've not done a good job the last few years. I don't like the multiple scandals, but it's not like I have absolutely zero faith in this front office. And so maybe if they don't fire him, this will be a kick in the ass to get their shit going, get back on track, and start making some smart moves again. But I think it starts with locking in Kwan. Don't let you have so few good hitters. If I'm the Guardians, I'm trying to extend both Kwan and Manzardo this offseason. Manzardo probably easier because he's only had one full year in the big leagues, whereas Kwan's already an arbitration guy. But get it done. You've given us a miserable year, the Guardians. The Clase thing, disaster. Luis Ortiz, disaster. Your lineup, a disaster. Signing Shane Bieber and him never playing a game for the team, disappointing, right? They're not in the, they're in the pennant race, but not really. Nobody thinks they're going to make it. You sold at the deadline again. It's been a miserable season. Fans are angry. It's the most anger I've seen from the diehard Cleveland Guardians fans in the 14 years I've been covering this team. And yes, my 14th anniversary in Cleveland is coming up in less than 3 weeks. And so the one thing that could really start to turn that around is if you extended both Manzardo and Kwan, especially Kwan, because he's closer to free agency. Don't trade Kwan. I'm glad you didn't today. Find a way this offseason. Find a way. A 7 for 125, is that going to get it done? There's no reason the Guardians can't pay that. Is that enough for Kwan? Is he looking for 7 for 140? I don't know. I don't know if he's looking for more than that. He's probably crazy. That's, I think, the sweet spot. And if you got to go a little higher than that, so be it. And I talked about his flaws of power. Mikey McNugget said to me today, well, do you want to build around a non-power hitter? Well, build around. He's a good hitter. They need to find a way to find power hitters, whether it's trade, whether it's the draft, whether it's developing them. CJ Kafis, he's got to be up here today. The Guardians did not trade Carlos Santana, as far as we know, right? Unless something comes in here at the last second. Carlos Santana should be DFA'd. He should be gone. By tomorrow, the Guardians should have CJ Kafis in the big leagues. So, I'm not seeing any last minute. I saw the trade. Okay, so since Monday, the Twins have traded Castro, Duran, Paddock. Forgot about him. Correa, Colombe. Forgot about him. Bader, Stewart, Jackson, Varland. So they've traded 9 guys off their roster. Weird that the Pirates didn't trade Tommy Pham or Andrew Haney or any of those guys. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're doing. And the Rays didn't trade Peter Fairbanks. They did trade Jose Caballero late to the Yankees. Phil Maton, remember him, former Guardian. I think he was an Indian, but he got traded to the Cardinals, or to the Rangers from the Cardinals. Padres don't trade Dylan Cease. What the Guardians? So it looks like the Guardians did not trade Carlos Santana. They trade. We'll get to what they did in a second. But Carlos Santana, DFA'd, get him out. I want to see Manzardo and Kafis as the first baseman DH. I want both those guys playing every day. Right now. Let's go. Manzardo obviously has to play every day going forward. He should have already. I don't want him sitting an entire game this season. And let's get Kafis up here tomorrow. He should be in the big league club. There's no excuse, no reason not to have him up. You sold at the deadline. You traded Shane Bieber. I don't want to hear, Carlos Santana is a below average player now. They don't need him. Let's move on. Let's go. You got to send Fry to the minors possibly. I know he had a home run yesterday, but I want Kafis and Manzardo getting at bats every day. Even if you have to play Kafis a little in the outfield, and even with Manzardo's even if with Manzardo struggles defensively. Let's see him play the position. Give him an opportunity. Give him an opportunity to play against lefties. He's still got the 3rd best OPS against lefties on the team, even though he's not been good against lefties lately. But how do you expect him to be good when he's in his first full season and you never play him against lefties? How do you expect him to be good at first base when he's in his first full season and he barely gets a chance to – he's been stuck as the DH for 2 years because this year because Carlos Santana has to play first base every freaking day for some reason. It's completely ridiculous. What did the Guardians do? The Guardians traded Shane Bieber, who will not play a game for the Guardians this year. I would think he'll make at least one more rehab start, maybe 2, before joining the Blue Jays in the big leagues. It's a smart move. He was going to opt out unless he got hurt again. The player option is for $16 million. He gets a $4 million buyout. So by opting in, it only gets him $12 million. And as long as he's not hurt again, he's going to make that up somewhere. And if he is hurt, you don't want him. So he's going to be a free agent. I like the move for the Blue Jays a lot. I think if Bieber's healthy for the final 6 weeks in the playoffs, he could be their ace in the postseason. He could be the difference. I was on our Bet River show in Toronto earlier today, and I was talking about this. I love Bieber, and we all love Bieber. And I think if he's healthy, which it looks like he is, and he's able to stay healthy the rest of the season, just turning 30 years old, I don't think there's any reason why Bieber can't be the reason why the Blue Jays go to the World Series if they do. He's going to play a huge factor in that playoffs. I don't think there's any doubt about it. What do the Guardians get in return for the Blue Jays? Well, they got a young pitcher, and he is the best pitching prospect in the Blue Jays system, and he is. I know some people. I was listening to MLB radio earlier today, and they think he's going to be eventually a relief pitcher. But Kyle Steffen, who was a second-round pick out of Mississippi State in I can't remember what year he was drafted. I want to say 2024, but I don't know if that's the case. No, I think 2023 maybe. Anyway, he is He is coming to the Guardians. He'll probably go to Double-A for the Guardians in Akron, or I guess we could see him in Columbus, but I think he'll probably be at Akron. And there's a lot of potential there. He's got a lot of talent. He's the type of pitcher the Guardians like to acquire in the minors and develop. Unlike hitting, they're able to develop pitching well. He doesn't throw overly hard. He has good command, throws 92, 93. The Guardians have taken guys with good command and not the top fastball and been able to improve those guys and make them more effective. We saw it with Bieber. We've seen it with Bieber. We've seen it with many guys along the way with this team. So he'll be the latest guy. And, listen, you never know. We've seen way too many prospects not pan out. But more often than not, the Guardians' pitching prospects have panned out. So, on paper, was a good to get a top 100 prospect. Again, it's just the MLB.com's opinion, the guys that write for them. But to get a top 100 prospect for a guy who's been hurt all year, been hurt for 2 years, and was only going to make probably what would have been 6 or 7, 8 maybe meaningless starts for the Guardians since they're not going to the playoffs, makes a lot of sense. It will be weird to see Shane Bieber in a Blue Jays uniform and any other uniform, but it makes sense for the Guardians. So I like the move for both teams. I like it a lot for both teams. I love it for the Blue Jays, obviously. And if Cal Stephan ends up being even a good pitcher, could be an absolute home run for the Guardians this trade deadline. The only other thing the Guardians did today, they somehow got somebody to take Paul Sewald off their roster. He was on the injured list. He's going to be out until the middle of September, and they got a player to be named later for him, but nothing significant that they'll get for him. They're lucky they took somebody to get the money. Not that we care about that. There was some more late trade trickle-ins. Mike Yastrzemski traded from the Giants to the Royals. Yeah. And that appears to be that. So it looks like the Guardians aren't doing anything else. Again, the headline here, breaking the news at 6:00 from Zach Meisel that Stephen Kwan not traded. He's staying with the Guardians. And I know a lot of us, myself included, all of you, over a few hundred of you that are watching right now, are all excited about that. Shane Bieber's been traded. Paul Sewald's been traded. For now, Carlos Santana is still here. I'm assuming they're going to move on from him. But, listen, I thought Kafis would be up here a while ago, and it hasn't happened, so who knows. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like that's it. So an interesting trade deadline. I think some of the teams I thought did really well here. I hate to say it because I hate both teams. I think both New York teams did very well. Very well here at the trade deadline. The Yankees, you see there, they got David Bednar. They got him in there. They added him to the bullpen. They traded for Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. They didn't get a starting pitcher, I don't think, the Yankees. But the Mets stacked their bullpen. They got Ryan Helsley, who's been the Cardinals closer. They got Gregory Soto from the Orioles. They got which Rogers brother did they get? One of them got traded to the Cubs. The other one got traded to the Mets. The better one got traded to the Mets. I can't remember if it's Taylor or Tyler. So it was a good deadline. I love what the Mariners did, getting Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. I love what the Blue Jays did, getting Bieber. I think the Cubs fell on their face at the deadline. They made 4 trades, and they're nice additions, but they're depth additions. The Cubs needed a big-time starting pitcher, and in my opinion, needed a big-time relief pitcher. They got 2 solid relief pitchers and 1 okay back-end starter. That's it. Nice move for Willie Castro, not good enough. I think the Tigers blew it. I see Ben Verlander, Justin's brother, talking about how the Tigers didn't get any offense, and I agree. Their offense overachieved early in the year, and they didn't do anything. They didn't get any. They didn't improve their offense at all. I think, some minor moves, but I think in this division, I think the Royals did a nice job. I mean, the Twins are a disgrace. The White Sox are a disgrace. This division is a little ugly right now. Tigers good, not great. Royals good, not great. Guardians mediocre at best right now. The other two teams are a disaster. Mariners also got Caleb Ferguson, so I nice relief pitcher to add there. So I think they did well. Who else? Let's see. I think it was a bad trade deadline for the Red Sox. They got Dustin May, but they didn't make any significant additions. I thought the Astros did a good job. They got Carlos Correa. I know he's not the player he once was, but they got him back to play third. They had some holes in the lineup. They made some moves in the outfield. I thought the Dodgers had a disappointing trade deadline, which I like. I don't like seeing them get any better. Weird deadline for the Rays. They just gave mixed signals. The Angels had a weird trade deadline here. So some odd things going down. But for the Guardians, again, Bieber trade fall. I'm happy in the end. I'm happy with what the Guardians did here. As long as they move on from Santana. I like that they didn't trade Kwan. They got what appears to be a very good prospect with a lot of potential in the trade for Bieber. And so as down as I've been on the team, I feel a little better about them today in terms of, what the front office did. I think they did the right thing in not trading Kwan, and they did the right thing in trading Bieber, and they appear to get a good return. Now, come on, guys. It's enough with Santana. Can we just move on from him and get things going? All right, let's get to some comments. I know a lot of you were commenting. I'll try to get to them all. Grant says Kwan stays. Cleveland did little or nothing. No, they didn't. They traded Bieber. Bull's biggest fan says he loves me. Thank you. George says Santana going anywhere? Not as of now. I'm hoping they'll move on from him. We'll see. Forrest says time to make a run. You never know. Victor, only one thing left to do. Win the whole fucking thing. Crazier things have happened. Cinematic Storm. Kwan is a Guardian. Victor, rich get richer after these trades. Yankees and Mets, yeah. Dodgers didn't. Cubs didn't. Phillies, they got a closer. It was a nice move. Red Sox didn't. Let's see. Ty, going to be funny when Kwan walks for nothing. He's not going to walk for nothing. They're either going to lock him up or they're going to trade him this offseason. And I don't like that. I think that's what's going to happen. But I like that this at least gives them a chance to try to work something out. Maybe they won't. Maybe they have no interest in doing it. I'm just going to hope, maybe against hope, that that's what happens. I don't know. A lot of people are disappointed they didn't do it. What did you expect them to do besides potentially trade Kwan? They had nobody else worth selling. They weren't going to buy. You knew that. We knew they weren't going to buy. They're a fringe of the playoff race. And another late trickle in, not involving the Guardians, but this is an interesting one. Shelby Miller, just coming back from injury, is expected to come off the DL this weekend potentially. The veteran journeyman has become a solid relief pitcher, was closing for the Diamondbacks earlier in the year. He goes to the Brewers in a late deal. So they're still trickling in here. But again, the Kwan is not getting traded, so don't worry about a late trickle on Kwan. Victor Santana, $12 million for his .225 average. It's not just that; it's taking away at bats. JG from space. I don't care if we end up losing him. We got him now. I'm done with rooting for our team to trade away talent. I want to win baseball games. Agreed. George says the Guardians didn't want to keep Santana. No one wanted him. So, well, if that's the case, then cut him. I'll only believe that if they DFA him today. Wasted time, Chief. Why do we have Hedges? One of life's mysteries. I've been talking about that for years. Wasted time, Chief thinks they're going to get a wild card spot. I don't, but I hope so. Victor, Hedges is a good clubhouse guy. I don't need to pay the worst player in baseball $4 million to be a good clubhouse guy. Kevin says Santana's here to stay with a laughing emoji. Very, very unfair. Mark says, I'm very glad to hear Kwan is still here. I agree. Victor, yay, bring up Kafis. I agree. Six City guard, Santana should have been dealt. I don't think anybody wanted him. Nathan, thank goodness the Guardians didn't trade Kwan. Fisherman, you're right. No one wanted Santana. He does need to be DFA'd, Six City. Victor says, get Santana out. John says, Bull is better than Vogt. Prove me wrong. I can't disagree. Nathan says, Bull should be the catcher. Could do better than we have in Naylor and Hedges. That's not true. As bad as those guys are, they're major leaguers. I couldn't make one play nor get one hit. I might be able to get one foul ball. I think I could. 20 years ago, I could have hit some foul balls. Now, no. Victor, Bull, our next manager. That would be great. Wasted Chief time. Santana's a Gold Glove at first. I don't care. Guitarro, man, being a Guardians/Indians fan means never wanting to buy a player's merch because they won't be around long. Very sad. Tim says, I'm shocked Detroit is wasting a likely division championship. Of all the teams in the AL who first in the division, Tigers will not beat any of them. And the Yankees made moves. Bull's biggest fan, Bull for president. No, thank you, although I'd be better than the current. But I'm not qualified. Victor, Dolan treats the Guardians like his macaroni and cheese dinner. Nathan, I've never understood to talk about players only playing against righties or lefties. If you're a Major League Baseball player, you should be able to hit both. Yeah, well, it's easier said than done. But certainly Manzardo should be playing both. Nathan, the team should have traded for Hunter Goodman. Why? The Rockies weren't going to trade him. Six City Guards, he was not the best pitching prospect. He's ahead of Tiedemann now, but you're right. He was the second best pitching prospect. My bad. Yes, Savage, or however you say his name, is their top pitching prospect. I didn't mean to purposely give out false info. Tiedemann is not ahead of him anymore. So he's the second best pitching prospect, according to MLB.com. Bolero, at least we're not Minnesota. Scott Wilk, thank you, Guardians, for not trading Kwan. Victor, sweep the Twinkies starting tomorrow. JG, I like the move. Seems like a net positive. Let's see. Victor, Clase really fucked up by getting us a great, could have got us great prospects. It's true. B. Skrill's good. I'm about to relax. I just ordered some pizza and wings. I'm about to chill and watch the Chargers and Lions preseason. Hard to believe this football tonight. That is crazy. Grant, please bring up Kafis. Six City Guards by Santana, Jones, and Hedges. T. Dwelt, big balls, Bull. Kwan is the cornerstone player. Glad we didn't trade his ass. Was there another last-second move here? Let's see. Matt Manning got traded from the Phillies to the Tigers. Yeah, I don't know. Some people are telling me that the Guardians got somebody off waivers. I'm not seeing that. Not that if you're getting somebody off waivers, he's likely to be any good. Guardians claimed Carlos Hernandez off waivers. I haven't seen that. I'll take a look. Fresh Coast Freak, how do we trade the front office? Kevin, sweep the Twins since they traded everyone. Jim, Guardians leave guys in the minors too long. Ain't that the truth? Fisherman, Stephen Kwan will lead off and play left field for the Guardians tomorrow night. Yes, they will. So there you go. I'll look and see one more time if I can see that the Guardians made some move. But if they did, it's nothing of significance. Yeah, Guardian. Oh yeah, how did I miss this from Zach? The Guardians did claim pitcher Carlos Hernandez off waivers from the Tigers. I mean, the guy got DFA'd. Let's not get very excited about that. But I'll give you some background on Carlos Hernandez. I want to say he's a really hard thrower, if I remember correctly. 28 years old. He used to be with the Royals. Yeah. He had a 10 ERA for the Tigers. In 10 innings this year. He had been with Philadelphia. He's got a career 5.17 ERA and a 150 WHIP. He does throw hard. He's one of those guys that throws hard, but it just hasn't worked. Whatever. He's a flyer. 262 Ks and 292 innings is not great. 144 walks. Oh my God. 292 innings. That's horrible. Yeah, those if your walk rate is more than half of your strikeout rate, that's not 8.1 strikeouts per 9 is not good. 4.4 walks per 9 is terrible. So, okay, there you go. That's the big move. All right, thanks everybody for joining me today. Please, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Bullpen. I'd like to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the first month of the football season. So my goal in the next 2 months is to get another 1,408 subscribers. 1,408. No. Yeah, 1,408. That's when I'm away from 10,000 subscribers to the Bullpen podcast. So if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. Don't cost you a dime. And spread the word. Last thing, Josh says, Bull, what do you think about the A's having Wilson and also getting DeVries? If you have a chance to get a guy who's supposedly a great prospect, you don't worry. You can worry about position later. DeVries is 18. He's not going to be in the big leagues right away. It's going to take some time. By that point, who knows what Wilson is? You move one of the guys to second. You move him to third. You figure it out. And B. Skrill says, Fry is starting to come back around. Yeah, fine. He shouldn't be playing over Cal Manzardo right now. Either he or Santana need to sit. You want to play Fry against lefties? Fine. Then sit Santana against lefties. I don't care. I mean, if Santana's gone, that solves the problem. But as of now, the Guardians have not DFA'd Carlos Santana. They seem to have a real affinity for him. But the good news, again, recapping the day, the Guardians have not traded Stephen Kwan. He will remain a Guardian through at least the end of the year. They have traded Shane Bieber to the Blue Jays. They have claimed Carlos Hernandez off waivers from the Tigers, and they have traded the injured Paul Sewald to the Tigers for a minor leaguer. That's what they've done today. We'll see if they make any moves in terms of DFAing waivers going forward. We'll get Zach's take on this in the morning. We'll be doing the Ultimate Cleveland Guardians show 9 a.m. tomorrow. I will not be on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show tomorrow, so if you want to see Zach and me talk more about the Guardians, check it out 9 a.m. tomorrow, the Ultimate Cleveland Guardians show. Until then, thanks to Kyle and Max for producing today. Thanks to all of you for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Where else but right here in the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody.